Heroes of Might and Magic Olden Era is getting closer, and with it, new information about the story, heroes, and creatures arrives. My name is Saviour, and I welcome you to the channel. In this video we are going to analyze the hero Octavia and the latest trailer released a few days ago. If you are a fan of the entire hero saga, in the top info cards I will leave you the quick guide to all the Heroes 2 factions. Unlike Gru, Octavia is a hero that fans of the series already know very well. Her first appearance was in Heroes of Might and Magic 3. In this game, Octavia belongs to the Inferno faction and was of the demoniac class. Therefore, she was aligned to the Might, mainly increasing her attack and defense stats as she leveled up. Her specialization was generating plus 350 gold, a good specialization for a faction with expensive units like the Inferno faction, but not enough to be a main hero. Additionally, one of her secondary skills is Basic Scholar, which in my opinion is very bad, so I think Octavia in Heroes 3 is a secondary hero mainly to her specialty. At the end of Heroes 3, the Reckoning occurs. This happens when the Armageddon's blade and the Sword of Frost collide, resulting in earthquakes and volcanic eruptions, leaving the world of Enrod uninhabitable. However, many portals appear, and many refugees manage to escape to the planet Axiot, the planet where Heroes of Might and Magic 4 takes place. Octavia belongs to the Asylum faction and is a Thief's class. This means she is aligned with the Might and will primarily increase her offense and defense as she levels up. Heroes of this faction and class start with basic scouting and basic stealth as secondary skills. Octavia in Heroes 4 was a good secondary hero or scout thanks to those secondary skills. At least that's how I use it, haha. And now we come to Heroes of Might and Magic Olden Era, where the information we know about Octavia is that she belongs to the Sylvan faction and is a Warden class aligned with the Might. Another thing we know is her specialization, which is 4-leaf horseshoe. It increases the hero's luck by 1. The chance of extra damage per point of luck is increased by 1% for every 5 heroes levels. Let's see if there are heroes with a similar specialization in Heroes 3. We have 2 heroes, Melodia the Druid and Dermot the Wizard. Both have the Fortune specialization, which increases luck in combat. Honestly, it's not a very good specialization. Melodia is a bad hero, and Dermot stands out for being the hero with the most spell points at the start of the game, not for his specialization. Furthermore, both are aligned with magic, so they will primarily increase in spell power and knowledge, not in attack to boost their units' combat damage. On the contrary, Octavia is aligned with Might, so she will have more attack to boost her troops' damage. But will we be enough to make Octavia a good hero? I think it will depend on 2 factors: the damage range of the Sylvan faction units. For example, in Heroes 2 we have the Unicorn, an incredible creature with bless and luck. If the Sylvan faction has creatures like this, Octavia's specialization will be better. The other factor is secondary skills. In the other games reviewed, Octavia starts with skills to be a scout hero or secondary hero, but her specialization in Olden Era is to increase damage in combat of the units. If she starts with a secondary skills like offense, that increases the chances of being a powerful hero. However, with the known information, it is difficult for her to be a tier S hero, unless Unfrozen surprises us with great secondary skills or a starting bonus like Dermot. Now we will go over the highlights of the latest Olden Era trailer. But first, I want to tell you something very sad. Did you know that more than 80% of the people who watch my videos are not subscribed? And these little creatures are a little sad and restless. Will you help me calm them down? There wasn't much information about the trailer. It begins with a battle between the Temple faction and the Sylvan faction, a typical fight for the defense of nature. I'm particularly struck by the color of the tree leaves. I quite like it, but I don't know if the trees will be shown in the color on the game map. It's also unknown if these are the Murmur Woods forest, where the Sylvan faction lives in the world of Jedaim. The battle ends with the powerful Armageddon spell. Time passes and two Minotaurs from the Dungeon faction appear, inspecting the remains of the battle, until the dead are reanimated by a hero that all fans of the saga will recognize, Thand, from Heroes of Might and Magic 3. Here I have a question. When Unfrozen introduced the Necropolis faction, it showed many heroes, but Thand was not among them. There are two possibilities here. The first is that Unfrozen simply hasn't shown all of the faction's heroes. And the second is that Thand isn't a normal hero, but rather an important hero in the story and can be seen or played as in the campaigns. Remember that in Heroes 3, he was a very powerful hero with a very good specialization. Perhaps he is a campaign-exclusive hero, like Kilgore in Heroes 3. Then one of the Minotaurs attacks, and a dragon appears and eliminates the reanimated creatures. But what dragon is it? This dragon has 4 horns, unlike the dragons from the Dungeon faction, which have 2 horns. There's also the Lich dragon. This one has 4 horns like the one in the trailer, but it has 3 heads, haha. So it's another creature. Could it be a neutral unit? Maybe it's like the Mega Dragon from Heroes of Might and Magic 4. And finally a Hive Queen appears, implying that the Hive faction are the enemies of the game's main story, or failing that, of one of the campaigns. With this, 5 of the game's 6 known factions appear: Temple, Necropolis, Sylvan, Dungeon, and Hive. But we still don't have the game's last faction. The only thing that's certain is that it must be a good faction, since we already have 3 associated with evil. In short, it's a trailer that reveals a few things, but perhaps leaves us with a lot of questions as well, haha. But the game's release is still a while away, so we will have to wait a little longer. Well, if you liked the video, I invite you to leave your like, comment, share and subscribe for more interesting content of the Heroes of Might and Magic saga. See you in the next time. Goodbye.